Okay, welcome everyone to Deaf in the Cloud. This is our second session in the series. We've been talking about AI and things in the deaf world in general. Just kind of curious today about the hot topics in AI and Gen AI, calling it Gen ASL potentially. So Gen AI meaning generative AI, in a sense meaning that it uses LLM or large language models. And that database system might have two experts here who could explain LLMs and how they impact Gen AI and where we're going with it and things of that nature. So I want to introduce folks from the ScienceSpeak team. I am the co-chair from the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group for Cloud Native Computing Foundation, or CNCF. This is Destiny O'Connor. Hey, Destiny. So we are co-hosts and co-chairs of that working group, co-hosts of today. So it's best that we have two of us going as we host these type of events going forward. I'd like to mention I'm also an AWS data hero for doing community work for AWS and now doing community work with CNCF. So I'm involved in a lot of different tech groups in the community. It's been a lot of fun and really, it's been a great ride. I'm working also for Slalom. The company name is called Slalom. I sign it like this, like we're skiing down a slalom track. We do tech consulting for different companies. We do design of platform engineering, machine learning. We do data engineering, data streaming, quality, all of that stuff. So my company is involved with doing various things around the company. And I'll pass it over to Destiny to introduce yourself. Hey, everyone, I'm Destiny O'Connor. This is my sign name. I'm a full stack developer and co-chair with Rob, as you mentioned, for CNCF Foundation. It's been amazing experience so far. So as you said, being involved in the community. I was one of the first deaf keynote speakers on a panel in the last KubeCon Chicago, which was amazing experience as well. So ScienceSpeak, what's up? Nice to meet you all. And tell me more about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. It will be a fascinating discussion about artificial intelligence, AI, and like we said, LLMs. So I am Nicholas Kelly. I am deaf, and I'm one of the founders and the chair for ScienceSpeak. This is our sign for ScienceSpeak. And we are also participating in Deaf Voice. I helped run Deaf Voice Zone, so I have a lot of experience doing research development and different productions for ScienceSpeak. At NTID, the National Technical Institute for the Deaf, where I was a student there, I saw equal access on campus, but it was something different. It was a world that I had never really experienced before. And so my counterpart here, Nicholas, he's a computer science background with AI at the time there where we met. And so it really started the ball of being curious about AI recognizing language, right? So the two of us, we had kind of a small startup project. We had a few signs that we modeled, and then it started to grow from there. Growing with the feedback at that time. And then we also brought my co-founder into the picture, and she had a strong background in business. And so the three of us kind of it really turned into the business that it is today. And we also have Brian, who's here, who's been, great with marketing and is very skilled in that. So the four of us really make a great team. And Yami couldn't be here to participate today. She, with business, she has to make sure that everything is going well for that. So we do have a great team of the four of us here and bringing accessibility to the deaf community through the use of AI. Oop, we lost the other Nicholas, so we'll go to Brian. Hi, my name is Brian. I'm one of the coordinators for Science Speak, and really doing the data coordination. We really want high quality data coming in to provide for our machine learning models and to be able to continuously grow and to understand our signs and the patterns, and also to be able to recognize our signs. And that's what the data is for, making sure that we have a lot of evidence backing as well. I also have a second role doing the marketing component, strategies behind that as well, being able to distribute what we know and just about Science Speak and what we do and our mission as we move forward. So if you're ever interested, just look at our page on social media and Instagram and Facebook. All the information is there. I lost the other Nicholas for a second. Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back. Welcome back.
Sorry about that. I thought I didn't realize my camera was off, and so that was my bad. So, hi, I am Nicholas. I'm the CNO. So I went to school at NTID, as was previously mentioned, RIT, and I studied production models and the math component behind that. I got my bachelor's degree and my master's in computer technology focused on AI. After that, I did a work internship for a while, but I really wanted to go back and focus on Science Speak full time. And so continuing to develop that to get it to where it is today. As we mentioned, we all work very closely together as a team. And I develop things and others test them and make sure we're getting good feedback, incorporating back into to make sure that we're continuously moving forward.
That's so cool. Yeah, very nice. So I'll start with a few questions. So how is the work going? Development work and making these magical replacements for sign language interpreters yet? Sorry, interpreters who are voicing for us. Sorry. I don't mean you guys, but just in general.
Yeah, so yeah, we get that often. That's a very common question, especially with Science Speak. We're not trying to replace interpreters. We just want to clear that up and emphasize that point. With Science Speak, the goal is really to build for the deaf community into their everyday usage for spontaneous last minute things that they may be missing information for. So that is really the vision behind it and the goal. We also see, there's not a lot of interpreters right now. We don't have enough of them. There's a high demand. There's a low supply. So again, we want to help remedy that gap. And again, this isn't meant to satisfy interpreting demands, but rather to help fill in the gap in low risk environments and interactions and situations. So that's where we can bring for the deaf community a choice where they're able to use our technology and our software in those environments. Anyone else want to add anything? Brian is speaking. Yeah, so with this technology, it is really more of a supplement because, again, the demand for accessibility for ASL interpreters, it is extremely high, and all those demands aren't able to be met because there's so many gaps. So, and that's occurring everywhere across the country. So this is meant to be a supplement, a support for interpreters as they do their jobs to make it easier, to make it more smooth. For example, if an interpreter is placed into an environment with little knowledge, they may be missing information. And so wanting support for that, there's many different ways that this technology can be applied as a supplement. And, we still, again, cherish and value the need for interpreters. It doesn't replace that. Nicholas is speaking. Yeah, I agree. It really is. It's been a great partnership as well within the deaf community. And currently, with this technology, you know, there's no national guide to use for AI right now currently. And so we are focused on, again, how can this work at a basic level? And again, learning from data as we gather it to better understand and utilize that and apply it to different versions of it. Right now, we're kind of in the third component. Um, the first one was closed captioning, and for voice conversations, to be able to caption those. And that's been one focus area. The second is language recognition. So if there's a sign, then the computer is able to capture that and translate it into the language. And then the third is the sign language avatar. So it kind of looks like a fake person, essentially. So a hearing person would be able to communicate speaking with their voice, and the avatar would be able to sign whatever they were articulating verbally. And so those are the three focus areas. And so we have had different dialogue and communication around that. Yeah, Brian wants to add something as well. Yeah, we do have those three components and the direction of communication with sign, but then there's also the receptive level and trying to separate the two of those. Those are two separate technologies essentially. And so we're building data to be able to support training for both sides of that, for signing and for receiving that sign language. So, Nicholas, did you want to say something as well? Yeah, one of ScienceSpeak goals is to provide us with what's called functional equivalence. I can't spell equivalence, whatever that is, equality, functional equivalence. But really, that's one of our goals within the hearing world. And that's something, again, that we recognize every day with products and things of that nature. Deaf people don't use voice recognition, right? And so paying the cost for production, it's something we want them to have the full experience because it can be frustrating to constantly feel left out in that. So we're coming along to support. And I just wanted to add that part too, that this comes from a place of that.
Yeah, well said. I think technology nowadays, in the use of it in life, people have a lot of technology and access to it. So testing those different things, out at a restaurant or maybe in the office, or if you haven't, utilized that in those. Do you guys have anything like that?
Brian here. Yeah, we have done some testing. We're just helping us again gather more feedback and then proceeding forward with that process, just making sure that we're seeing where the deaf community wants, what they need, that we're accommodating to their feedback. And we have kind of like a beta test too that we'll be releasing soon, approximately hopefully by the end of this month, where people would be able to kind of go in and be able to help us in testing our product. And so that focuses on the closed captioning system, the first one that we had mentioned. And so taking that and being able to translate it into that written captioning form. And we're hoping to release that at the end of this month. So again, from that beta testing, able to get more feedback and implement it back into our product. So that's really exciting. That's what's coming soon down the pipeline. Yeah, this is Nicholas. And like you mentioned, the feedback component, you're right. That's something we want to emphasize with ScienceSpeak. We really want the deaf community to be the ones who it's the basis for what we do for our technology and our products. And to give us feedback, if it's easy to use, user friendly, if the signs are clear and understandable. We want that feedback from the deaf community so that we're able at ScienceSpeak to make that more compatible because we really do value working together across as a team.
Yeah, Rob here. I have another question. Can I ask you to explain a little bit more about how you can do the recognition of signs from a conversation that has happened before? Like session one, we were with GoSign.ai and we had a conversation with them. It seems that they're gathering a lot of data to recognize signs and different backgrounds, different skin colors, different signing styles, etc. How do you decide or identify some of those things, maybe like apple versus onion, right? The different locations on your face here. So I'm just wondering, how do you decide what to use there?
This is Brian. Yeah, so we have a lot of deaf individuals who are working with us and to do different, a variety of testing. And again, to get cleaner data for that. So we make sure that we are expanding that team as well. And it's all a team of deaf people. So it's all from diverse backgrounds, diverse signing styles, so that we're able to see the difference in signing styles across a larger population. And whether it's like whether they went to school or they didn't, or things like that. So we're trying, it really never ends. It's an ongoing process. It will continue on, trying to catch, all of those patterns and standards. You start small and then you get focused into an area and, you think you understand it and you think you got it, but we have to always continue to grow our data. We doubled our data set within the past couple months. We want to continue to do that and get better and better as we go. Nicholas was going to add something. Yeah, related to the data. So with data, it is really helpful as we continue to figure out the language and get better in that. We also train our AI. It's completely, in-house, essentially, what we produce. And we've, again, seen that learning come from a variety, a diverse set, and with diverse language and cues as well that we provide. For example, if you're learning a series or a phrase from, something maybe about a shape or lead or something like that, then you're able to see the facial expressions and the body language and to be able to figure out, lastly, is the context and saying like, okay, what could this mean? You're eating an apple, and being able to identify which was it. Was it an apple or was it an onion? So again, we see all of those parameters, those components to help us be able to predict the language naturally. And we do also make mistakes sometimes. And we continue to use the system as a continuous process towards growth and our model continues to learn, and we encourage people to use it because it does help us improve. And we're always continuing to learn from, that variety and diversity there.
Yeah, Rob here. It's not ready for beta necessarily, but maybe a preview after it's done a series of learning and then, transforming the data and making that available in general. With that in mind, actually, how do you do your data collection and where are you? I mean, you're storing a lot of the data somewhere, right? So, um, how much data should you need to determine that one word that's actually what it is, like out of the books? You have a lot of diversity there. You've got several hundred, several thousand. What does that look like?
Sure. Yeah, this is Nicholas. Um, we already have mentioned a little bit on the data part, but then also there's, a technical component too. If there's a question, for example, we do save everything, which is awesome. And it like a glossary. So, and I have a good friend who's been really helpful with that. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's been great. So it does help us kind of reduce the storage amount that we're dealing with as well. So from the perspective of data, it really depends on the model itself. Some models need a lot, some have a lower resource that they use. And so inductive models, for example, that would mean you're learning. So before you would do a training on a model, but you've determined which model you want to use, you have to inform the model of some things. For example, a really good example for this is in like image processing. We use something called CNN. And this limits what you see. So you only see part of it at a time. And so by adding different inductive information, then we're able to inform the model to reduce the amount of data that it's requiring. And so, maybe there's data that's, oops, I'm going to say something. This is Brian. Yeah, so out of a pool, essentially, it's also related to, we have a design that we build on our platform. Kind of what you were just mentioning about the model, seeing what the model needs first and foremost, and then we're able to kind of edit to that platform and to feed us kind of exactly what we need to cater to that model. And so the platform will make modifications over the course of time.
So you've got multiple segments within the model or just one model as a whole?
Yeah, do you want to speak to that, Nicholas? Yeah, so we have different models that we've tried over the course of time, and we've used testing, a variety of testing in that. And we like to alternate between different models depending on which one is more accurate. And we see which models have accurate information and which need more information or more data. And really it depends. So right now we're training on a lot or several different ones. And so far we've been training, let me think, I want to say for about a month. We've been training on 100 different model variations. Yeah. So, we do a lot of testing in that sense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels
that's a lot.
awesome. But it is good, it's faster to get that information from the system and saying, hey, I'm trying testing, on, X number, and it does result in faster.
Wow, that's funny. So Destiny here too, how many hours of data collection do you have trained and in development? How many hours would you say? Rough estimate.
Ooh, to give a specific number?
Like I said, just an estimate if you had to guess. Rob here, if you had to say like, all the signs that you've done and all the videos that you have, and if you were to slice and put those together back and back, how many hours would you think?
Oh man, it's always changing every day. Um, it's always growing and growing and growing, and it keeps changing. So, I mean, if we really knew the number, memorized it, I mean, even within the span of a couple days, I mean, we wouldn't know anymore because it's always changing. It's always expanding. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's 24/7, 24/7. Um, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a funny story, but when we started, I was looking at a story and I was watching, the numbers just increase over time. And after about a month, I just stopped watching it because it was going up so quickly. And so I know the past several months, I think I'm right. I think it's been about 2 months from the data set. And then we've already doubled it in size. Yeah, Brian is saying it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we found, after a while, satisfying those numbers. But again, I don't know.
Rob here. I mean, that's okay. The more
There's
data,
no one
right?
number. It's a large number. It's in like
Okay.
it's in like so many per month. I don't even know. Yeah, we're bringing back to the data again. I know we were talking about the data privacy policy as well. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so I want to bring that up because that's another thing that people ask us over and over again. And so I think it's good to just say it. But people will ask us, do you share our data? Do you sell my data? And the answer is no. And the reason why is that those of us who work, across the US, there's different, sharing data, that's something that comes up often. And people want to collaborate and create new inventions and things like that related to data. And it's like, okay, So we just ask questions, and most people say, please don't. Please don't. People don't like their
Sure.
data to be used. Personal identification information as well. We call that PII. Your face, your body, being able to recognize that. And so what we've done, we protect that data at all costs. We do have a policy now that says, sorry, we're not able to share data. We want to honor, those within the deaf community here within the US. I'm not sure if anyone else has anything to add about that. Brian is saying yes. That's also related to trust. Oops, sorry, Nicholas, did you want to say something? Yeah. I think there's a second reason why as well. I mean, data is very easy to sell and to profit off of. It's true. But most importantly is if the deaf community is saying no, they want us to protect their data, that means that they trust us and they don't want their data to be stolen and used and disseminated across the internet. So first, the most important reason is when people come to us and they want to use the data, we say, unfortunately, no, we're not able to do that. And some people see that as lucky and some people see it as not lucky. But we do here in the US have strong data protection laws. And so often I will remind, we're not trying to sell data here. We're not trying to share that and disseminate it. We have laws and policies in place, so we're protected in that sense of being able to say no. And there's also other data protection laws. There's a whole slew of them. So we don't have a precise process necessarily to disseminate people's data, because that's just not something that's a really important thing for us is to keep that privacy. And people don't want us to do that. So that the first is people don't want us to, and the second is, legally. So there's an ethical and a legal component to that.
Yeah, Destiny here again. That makes sense. A lot of things out there are not necessarily familiar with the deaf community, and sometimes it's working against that because in the deaf community we cherish who we are, and obviously with data being a hot topic right now, a lot of companies out there, they're saying, oh yeah, we have AI sign language, and like I go to check it out and that's not at all what it is. And so wondering kind of with that, learning about it in depth and getting that knowledge, it doesn't seem that companies are willing to do that. So it's important for us to keep hold of our data and the knowledge and keep it going that way. I do understand that there's other, growing the business and monetary value and things like that. So I could see it from both sides. Rob, I'm a little torn because the data selling, people want to take advantage of that to have more accessibility in the future when you're bringing in money for folks like yourselves, right? And an army of like ML engineers that are lined up and ready to go for you, improving all of that accessibility. But the problem is like being careful with maintaining privacy.
Yeah, I do think it's good. It's really easy to profit off of that. Um, and at the end of the day, really, we all we don't do this for profit at the end of the day, essentially. We're all getting very underpaid here. um,
I love you guys for that.
we, yes, we eat a lot of ramen. But my point is, when we kind of look at the team and look at the community, we just think, what's the point of developing the technology, right? We can't do it without them. And if we get a profit or whatnot, then we're actually hurting the deaf community in the process, which the whole reason we got into this is to support the deaf community. So, yeah, we're very careful about that. Yeah, one thing I'd like to add as well, this is the other Nicholas, is for our investors as well, we are very careful who our investors are, because we love our investors and we understand that we can also impact our investors as well. And so we really do see a significant amount of impact and support across the community as a whole across the US. And it's been a great experience so far of collaboration, trying to understand deaf culture and working with us from our investors, which has been really rewarding.
That's great. Yeah, I want to mention that it's so important that, people know that and that people are watching. I think that knowing AI and sign language, why is that important?
This is Brian. Why it's important? AI sign language, it's because right now AI is taking off, with Chat GPT. I mean, it's been almost 2 years. And so now AI is, coming and is taking up greater space. And it's a tool to be used, it's an asset for accessibility. I think people who are able to interact with AI and who work with AI within the job field, we're just seeing more participation for AI to really revolutionize in positive ways. And so that is a big part of it too. And the community is a big part of it too. So being able to provide accessibility and involvement with AI services, yeah, I think it is the future. Nicholas wants to add too. Um, Something I would just put out there as well is that I know when people see AI, they think it's more of a generator. It's something that they're afraid of. And so I just want to clarify that AI, we should not be afraid of it. It's just another tool, and at the end of the day, AI is just something that it's just math and mathematics at the end of the day. And,
Yeah,
statistics.
agreed. Yeah, I know you're a math guy.
Yeah, I mean, some people would say, math could kill you. So I don't know, I guess. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I think it's important that we see this as a way of advancement and improving accessibility. For example, if something is already going well in an accessibility stance, um, again, I had a bad experience at my internship, but where the interpreters were fine or whatnot. But when we're looking at an internship, maybe where someone isn't able to get an interpreter, for example, like Siri, if you don't have an interpreter to be there and voice, you're a little bit
Right,
stuck.
right.
So just thinking about as again a last minute resource, trying to just make it through without an interpreter present, even though it's an unfortunate situation. Or home, the other Nicholas is saying, yeah. So interpreted accessibility, where it's not able to be provided, we're able to provide some accessibility where there wasn't before.
Yeah, Destiny here. I'd like to add with the data collection involved holistically in signs and gestures from different countries. Do you have things of that nature in your collection?
So that is something that's on our roadmap. Um, we are an American-based company and our team is from America. And so we are focused on ASL at this time, but we are trying to continue to push forward. Um, There'd be some countries that do use ASL strongly, which again, then it is accessible within that space as well. But we're trying to begin to expand our team as well and to bring in other individuals from other countries to benefit from what they can bring to the table for us. And so that's why we're, trying to continue to reach out to the deaf community for just support and feedback and to see what the demand for the technology is. And so we would love to see that and make it happen. Nicholas is saying, yeah, I think for us, we are always looking to develop in other languages as well. It's something we want to do a lot of, research first and foremost, because at the end of the day, sign speak, the important component is the values first and foremost, and that's the deaf community. That's what's most important to me. And so we want to continue to develop, but also to primarily keep in the forefront of our mind the value of the deaf community and language as well. And so deaf culture, if it is in another country that's not the US, thinking through that, wanting to research first and foremost to be able to provide quality to that first and foremost. Ooh, go ahead, Nicholas. Brian is saying. Yeah, I think also, also with like the ocean, I think it's important that the first thing is, like you said, that we're able to kind of do some research, make sure that it is helpful, what we're providing, and to accept feedback as well. I mean, we are a small team at the moment, and with the language that how do you prioritize, which is first, just navigating decision making and things like that. It's not always so simple. And so what we see is, again, that value and putting the community in the forefront first, but also leaving it up to them. Where are the needs? How can we expand the technology? Because we really believe in, again, that interactive two-way communication between us and the community, basing how we move forward and what we move forward in that order on their needs and what we're hearing from them. Yeah, I also think this is, it's through trial and error. We're doing a lot of experimentation to figure out what works, what we're producing. And so we do focus on building our systems, building our infrastructure first, our interface first. And so that just is, the first thing that we need to focus on as we continue to, we're just scratching the surface in one sense.
Yeah, Rob here. So when you're going through that building process and it's learning the ASL and translating things from ASL to English and whatnot, making repeatable type processes so that if you're pulling in other languages, you could use that same repeatable pattern, and the development time would then be reduced by a lot as you go forward with the different languages, right? So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to, is just, adding obviously some other things like international sign and gestures. I think that, it's not necessarily expertise right now in the process, but it could become that way. And I think that with the languages and the data, I have a question about what are the other groups that you're looking at, if any, that are creating AI generated tools like this as well, like OmniBridge, or that Google, I think, is doing something like that. Some other groups that are out there. I'm curious, are you keeping track of what they're doing, or are you considering them as competitors? What is that for you guys?
Yeah, I think what's beautiful about this is that we're all approaching this from very different lenses or approaches. And so, from what we see, what the issues are versus what Google might see the issues are, we're coming at it through different lenses. And so I think it is really exciting just to see what will happen. I mean, the deaf community itself, at the end of the day, that is our primary focus. And so the models that we use here at Science Speak, I think, determining that. For collaboration purposes, we're always open to trying to work together with other individuals. We're never closed off to that. And, even if there's any other organizations that wanted to collaborate, we're always open to hearing that out and looking forward to collaboration opportunities. So I would say that, again, we are a small team with limited resources. And so sometimes maybe it can be hard for us to engage as quickly as others just because of our limited resources. And so sometimes it can feel like we're getting disconnected. So that is a big focus of ours for this coming quarter. Yeah, I think it's also important to be aware, again, with the deaf community, there are different options, right? There are competitors or other options out there for them. And I think that's important to me to support that as well, allowing them to know that they have those options. And, competition is important. I would encourage, more AI companies to take off the ground. Competition makes the experience better for everyone. And as someone comes up with an idea, someone else can learn from that idea. It just moves the ball forward. So that would be my comment that I would add. Yeah. And to add to your point too, I think it is important for the community to feel supported, whatever the best model is. And again, receiving that feedback, giving feedback. I just forgot what I was going to say. Take your time, process. It is important that we have competition in this space and in this field. And I also think that it's natural that it will, take some time. And it's not like we're all in this for profit and a race to profit the most. That's not the point of this. There's plenty of room within the industry. Um, and I feel like rising water, essentially, you know, how that just helps the boat end up getting to the top and floating in that sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
uplifting the community. Yeah.
right. So I think that's what we see through that competition factor. It makes it easier for all of us, the more people involved. Yeah, and it does help, I think, to kind of take up new technology easier as well for people to adapt to that faster as they see the prevalence of it increase. I would add that as well.
Yeah, Destiny here. That's great. Wonderful that the technology is that you're focusing on the language portion and the different classifications of signs and things like that. Like we're talking about classifiers specifically. Rob said, yeah, like if a car goes by, how are you dealing with that kind of part of the language?
Yeah, to be honest with you, classifiers are tough. They are really tough. It's normal to focus on known ASL that is across the community. It's a lot harder for the model to recognize classifiers, right? And so, um, again, in that beta test that we'll be releasing, we hopefully will again generate more ideas and feedback from that. But classifiers do make it challenging, and also the data as well. It just increases the amount that we need to collect and utilize for our model to be able to identify classifiers more. And so we're continuing to learn how to adapt to that, whether it's an accent or anything of that nature. Yeah, another thing I would say, what's really amazing about AI is that they have what's called emergent behavior, meaning that it can learn from something. There's two different examples. The first would be with like ChatGPT. With that type of approach, yeah, is more associated with coding. And it has learned a lot through that just kind of process and generation through the typed back and forth. The second would be through the avatar approach, and like giving life to an image essentially. And so from our avatars, we are learning a lot through that as well. And it's learning to recognize where like shadows should be. So our avatar, if it sees like on our shirt some sort of shadow, it's learning from that. And it's important for people to be able to use the model and also to generate feedback from that. With any, natural learning, um, it does take time. And of course, it does start, and we're continuing to learn as well as we go with the AI model. There's what the limits are, what the potentials are, and we do learn through errors at times, but we just continue to use it, and it continues to hone its abilities. So we're really excited for what it continues to learn, and I just find it so fascinating when emergent behaviors happen. I think it's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, what you were just commenting about, I really want to emphasize that too, that the more people use ours or in general the AI, the better it gets. So,
Absolutely.
because again, it really is heavily based on or driven by feedback and experience through its usage means that the more data we get, really it just is a continuous cycle that helps to improve, and it gets better and better for the user as well.
Same with regular AI, right? Just like ChatGPT, because I don't, necessarily go to ChatGPT, but if I've trained it against what I'm using and it understands what it's seen before, now I feel like, other people, when they use it or when I use it, it fits my personality more regularly when it knows what has been happening in the past. But when I first used it, I was like, what? That's not what I'm talking about at all. And, using it and getting it trained up to fit kind of me and my language, I think that's kind of definitely something that within the knowledge of the AI and the deaf community, it'll have more emphasis and more things to go off of to improve, right?
Yes, exactly. And, that's a really good point, Destiny. So RLHF, reinforcement learning through feedback through the user's continuous usage. So really, it's amazing because what you see is the model is learning things, and it's just kind of wild. It's things that they couldn't have learned without that continuous usage and that training for compared to 3.5 versus version 4. And so again, there's more advancement within the model that is due to feedback compared to less advancement and less feedback. But the 3.5 version can sometimes beat the 4 version, and that's based off of data. I'm trying to think of a good example. So if I sign, I'm going to the store, but if I were to fingerspell going to the store, but we know what we mean, but human might prefer like I went to the store, and so or something like that. So it's learning essentially human preference as well and
Right,
personal.
like I was saying, like in matching my personality and my language. Yeah, Rob here. This is fascinating. So, as a deaf person, where do I go? How do I start with any of this type of stuff? How do I learn to join your team and stuff like that? When what you're doing, like maybe I'm like thrilled about it right now, and I really want to get involved. I know there's probably a long list of people who would want to join your team, and there's a strong community, and people want to learn ML and data storage and things like that. What do you think is the best trajectory for somebody who wants to get involved?
So really, I think what we would say is, for starters, do some usability testing with our captioning system, Destiny, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Hopefully you had a good experience. So that's for starters. And then what I would say is that we have Discord as well that you're able to join, and you can ask questions, you can have a discussion, really to engage on that platform. So if you're really interested in contacting us about user testing, send us an email. It can be virtual or in person. Yeah, did you want to add something, Nicholas? Yeah, I had two things that I wanted to add. So we're always looking to expand our team. Sometimes we may be a little bit slow to respond because we are small, so I apologize for that in advance. But we are always looking for those with skills to offer. We do have our website as well. If you're interested in anything, if you see something that could be a great fit for you, you're able to peruse there on the website, because we do hire through that platform. And so we would encourage you to look at that as one place to start. So yeah, I think you can see what is a good fit. And, if you do identify something, go ahead and contact us. Um, they are hard hours, but there's so much, and it really is a great team. And it's awesome just to see, we love working together. We have fun together, which is a positive environment.
Yeah, we could see that.
Yeah, I think another thing to be aware of too is that we are a startup, and it's not easy, so they are long, hard hours. Um, we mentioned before about eating a lot of ramen.
Right, the ramen. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but we are committed. We are crazy about it. And Brian is more crazy than I am. Anyway, so it's just like
TMI.
yeah, I mean, the work-life balance can be tough. I mean, sometimes, but it is really rewarding too. Yeah. Yeah. So what I wanted to say though was that as a team, we do see you will experience a lot of growth if you join as well. And, we may just say like, go ahead and have fun and go ahead and learn. And so it's a learning environment. There is training, but we're building a team and just becoming creative with that as well. Yeah, I think something I would say too is that we do, you know, it's not just data, it's so much more than data now in production. And now there's marketing, there's so many more components to what we do. I'm sorry. Yeah. I will say, I do have, my role, what my job is, but now, my work and my role at the same time, it's more than just what my role is supposed to be. It's just grown
Constantly wearing,
exponentially.
yeah, sorry, constantly wearing different hats, right?
Yeah, so it's just like, they're supporting each other. I experience support from others.
And Brian, you're an expert
Come
coder
join,
now, right?
come join our
What
team.
language? Yeah, what language do you use for coding and your developing of the software and all of that? We have just a few minutes left.
Yeah, sure. So we use Python as our language of choice. Is that your sign?
Oh yeah,
Python?
yeah, this is what we
Python.
signed for Python. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Python, yeah. For the back end, that's what we use Runt,
Oh yeah, Rust.
Rust, thank you. And so it is very good on the back end. What do I want to say about that?
BD, right?
Yeah, it is fast. Yeah, it's very strict on what it allows and what it doesn't allow. It is very strict in that sense, but it does have some things also that it does remember at the same time. So you're able to just input what you need to. So it is very effective for our purposes. Right now we're seeing, they're moving more towards Python, or however you assign this, Python over Rust. Again, to make it faster on the front end. On the front end, we do use Rant. Yeah.
React. Yeah, of course. I'm
Okay.
learning some new
I wasn't
signs.
sure what
Yeah.
the sign was.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was from some of our European members. Yeah, they have that sign for React.
Yeah. So I just feel like everyone is using that now. But yeah, that's what we use on the front end.
What about the machine learning portion with the models and everything? Are you using Kubernetes or are you using SageMaker? What is that?
So we actually use both Technoflow. I'm not sure what the other one was.
Oh, maybe TensorFlow.
TensorFlow. And they are really good. It's more limited, I would say, again, a lot stricter. For example, if it has an image processing, then the system, they're just the math, it has a hard time. And there can be a breach that happens or occurs. So it is fast, but it does have some limitations. And then on one side, there's pitch or perch. And we do have, again, it takes maybe a little bit longer compared to the other one, 15 seconds or so. So we are making some changes in that sense. Let me think. I think it was 2 years ago. I was going to say recently, but I guess it was 2 years ago. And it was helpful when we did make those modifications. Sorry, what
Yeah,
were
can
you
you?
saying? Eager? Yeah, so we were making some modifications, we were changing, and it was running, but it wasn't able to make the changes that we wanted it to make. So then that did impact speed. And so then we sort of copied it over to our what we changed over to. So now we're using this eager. And so we found some models to train on up to about 10 times faster compared to what we were using before. So that's one element.
Destiny, do you have any other questions you'd like to bring up? Oh, actually, I was just talking about before everyone again who hasn't showed up yet. I think just wanted to reemphasize that we are talking with Science Speak today. Check them out. Everything's been really awesome from what we've been talking about with all of our topics today. So just kind of former start with AI and just how it used to pop up for us before. So it really, it's nice and appreciated the work that you're doing. And if anybody wanted to, yeah, be involved in that testing we were talking about.
Yeah, you can see in the chat that there is the Discord link. I just wanted to add that. Yeah, and again, with Science Speak, it's our commitment to continue to learn and to grow. That is our promise. There is, it's not perfect, but we do our best and continue to provide high quality as we continue to make modifications and changes. That is our commitment. And so if a problem is hard, we're focused on solving it. We're not afraid of that. Yeah, pushing through.
Perseverance. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and we do know that, with the deaf community, there are a lot of promises that have made to the deaf community related to technology. And so that's the reason why we are very careful about recognizing and trying to be humble as well as we move forward. And so you'll hear that from us on social media as well, that we're working on things. We try to keep them updated as we're going, that we're building what we're working on testing, working on quality. And again, striving towards success in that sphere. And so we do honor our promises and our commitments to make sure that we can, have technology ready when we say that we will.
Yeah, understandably. When you're translating sign language, is it all on the server there? So do you have a mobile app or would it be iPad or iPhone or desktop computer that would sync with the server that could be used to translate? Is that how it works? So doing the models and running those and doing the recognition, yeah. Okay, so it's synced up there. So it's not on the actual device. Okay.
Yeah, they are synced up. Unfortunately, with the model that we use, sometimes it does require some resources as well. I do think that maybe it's the processing side of things that takes the most time, but recognizing that we are trying to continue to improve upon that because it's not great. We're not satisfied with where it's at right now. We work
Right.
on it every day. Yeah. Yeah, so we strive towards that end, knowing that we work around and through limitations, and also recognizing where we're connected. But currently, at least, we're planning to release um, our API. And so we're
Yeah, cool.
operating in that sense. And so, if you'll see us again to continue to improve our accessibility on those three components that we mentioned earlier during this, and always driving towards that end. But so that will be coming soon for the client's product. So that will be on an iPhone or whatnot. I'm not sure if the others wanted to add anything as well to that. Yeah, for the clients, we do have the closed captioning system, that first component, but then also there's something that they're able to utilize together as well for deaf individuals on social media, to have closed captioning forever on there and trying to get that to be the norm and something that everyone is used to. And
Sure, like this recording, huh?
yeah, for recording, for any sign start to end, starting and stopping, for whatever speed. Also to make it be faster, just to have the closed captioning ready. So it doesn't have to take 2 hours for a simple video. It could be 5 minutes. And some people do, take
Ooh,
hours and
nice.
hours and hours for just a simple video to get it captioned for that information. But again, for the deaf community, their primary language is ASL, right? And so again, the system is again a supplement, a support towards that translation end.
That's awesome. Yeah, wow. Okay, unfortunately, we are out of time for today.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So I would just like to say you're doing some amazing work.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I guess we'll just kind of wrap it up. Rob, here we had a lot of things to chat about, a lot of people signing all over the place. And, it was nice to meet the folks from Science Peak and the team in Las Vegas. We had a lot of conversation there, and I'm happy to continue it, and there's a lot more to be had going forward. So I want to say thank you from both Destiny and I, for the three of you, to join our conversation today, and sharing that knowledge out to the public. And I hope that folks out there can learn from this and do things going forward. And then did you want to add something, Nicholas?
Yeah, I just want to add one last thing too, is that if you have any questions or things that you're interested in, or anything pops up or information you want to learn, just send us an email or send us a message. You can send it on our Discord. And please feel free again to just participate in that. Yeah, definitely feel free.
Yeah,
We would love
absolutely.
to again if needed.
Yeah, I'm curious. Maybe you could do a product demo for us at a later date if you feel when it's ready. If you wouldn't mind, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we actually were gonna pull that up, but we ran out of time. Yeah, we actually yesterday we were working on our page as well, and so we do have a demo that we're working on, and so you're able to look at that as well and see what it looks like. So yeah, but yeah, we'd be more than willing to come back and do that at a later point.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, nice to see you, Nico, Nicholas, Brian, and thanks again for joining us today. Um, thank you for your support, Destiny, as well. And yeah, I'm here as well. Yeah, so nice to meet all of you and see your faces and get to know a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, hopefully next time Yami can come too as well when she has time, so
Absolutely.
that people can get to know her better as well.
Okay, thank you all.